Hey, this is Liz, and you're listening to the SouthCack Syndicate Podcast.
SouthCack Syndicate Podcast.
That's right, baby.
Thanks, Liz. Episode 15 here with Jared Ketterman.
With a little 15 with a little vacation, if you call it that.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks or 1 week.
It's been 2 weeks off posting.
Yeah.
Jared and I had some stuff come up. Had to go. Oddly enough, we both went to Chicago. He went to South Dakota, but you flew to Chicago.
Yeah. I went for a screwdriver in Chicago.
You went for 3 screwdrivers.
3.
Yeah.
That was early.
Yeah.
You can't drink beer before lunch.
Yeah, and I ended up in Indiana. You ended up in South Dakota. Anyway, long story short.
So I'm in South Dakota on a pleasure pheasant hunting trip, and were you at Feronius? Where were you?
I was at Feronius, yep.
Welding manufacturer.
So we got FabTech next week in Atlanta. It's
like a Comic-Con for welders.
It's exactly what it is. Well, they got more than just welders there. They got anything really that has to do with fabrication. But they're going to unveil some new equipment. They wanted to fly me up there to kind of get
some content.
No, they wanted to fly me up there to get trained on it.
Cool.
So I can introduce it at FabTech. Cool.
Man, I got so many text messages on like Saturday. They were like, "So nothing posted as a new episode. Like, what happened?"
We just quit.
Well, I'm in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Well, what about next week? Well, Kyle's in Atlanta. Yeah. Or what about? And I was like, sorry.
It's good. We're gonna make up for this one.
Your luck.
We're gonna make up for this one. I'm excited about this guest.
This will be a good one.
This is kind of sort of in my wheelhouse a little bit.
Yeah. So when I made the call to our guest that is sitting here before us today, he was like, podcast in Walhalla.
Really?
Well, let me listen to it, and I'll get back to you.
Before I tell you, before I tell you I'm in.
So today on episode 15, we have Trey Keys. Welcome to the podcast, Trey.
Where's the applause at?
Do we have a button?
Should be a button. We do have a button.
Hit a button and see what it does. Just hit one.
I'm going to play the boo.
Hey, this is Liz, and you're listening to the SouthCack Syndicate Podcast.
Okay, that's the wrong button. Yeah. Okay, so Trey Keys is here. Trey and I met probably 4 years ago for the first time, and we were redesigning the SouthCack.com website, and he had helped me do some of that and do the Facebook and switch everything over.
Made some content for you too, right?
Did do some content, and then once I saw what he was capable of, a couple of years go by, I'm working with the tourism board for Oconee County, and we needed some content created for
You're like, I got a guy.
Our mountain bike park. I got a guy. Another year goes by. Megan's company needed some marketing, needed some content creation.
Yep.
She called Trey. Trey got the job, or his company got the job. And so Trey is no stranger to Walhalla, native of Walhalla, currently living in Clemson. And your current title for your job today is?
Associate Director of Creative Solutions at Clemson University.
Great. So we're going to talk about what it's like to be on the sidelines of Clemson, I guess all athletics.
For the most part.
But football, basketball, you do soccer, baseball?
Less soccer. I've done more baseball, but I've been to almost all of them.
Yes. You guys have people that do that though, right? Like that's part of your the departments.
Yeah, we've got multiple. Well, there's some athletic departments that have a lot of people, and then there's people who have none, and we're somewhere in the middle.
Gotcha.
So we've got 6 full-time people, and then 3 people that work on sports that aren't football. Or Clemson Plus, which is another thing we can talk about later.
Yeah, great.
And very talented too, I must say. Let's start that off. I don't know how I first started. Maybe I guess people at the church maybe turned me on to you or something and started watching some of your content. And I was like,
yeah, because Kyle knew who you were. And I think y'all just shook hands for the first time today.
Yeah. But
he definitely knew who you were. And what's funny is I told Trey, who my co-host, who I did this hosting with, and he was like, oh, that's the car guy. That's the fabrication guru guy. And I was like, okay, so you know Kyle too. So it's funny when creators actually do their own work and other creators pay attention, and you knew Trey's work from previous, and Trey knew who you were as well.
Did you do some stuff for the church too for a little while maybe?
Which church?
Life Point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every once in a while too, I'll help out with Taylor.
Yeah, and I think back then, this is 4 or 5 years ago, I think when they first introduced me to you, I think it was through the church. I don't remember who it was. I was talking to somebody and they're like, oh, you need to check out this Trey guy. He's making some good stuff. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm always looking for some help. Which, I mean, you were already
past that point.
Yeah, you were already pretty solidified in your own content creation and doing your own thing and
So
whatnot.
Trey, tell us how you got into. Are we going to call this content creation? Is that
Yeah,
kind
so
of what you do?
So, I mean, kind of, we talk a lot about content creation on this podcast. When we talk about media, traditional media versus social media, well, this kind of plays right into that. So it's going to be great to have somebody that actually does this for a living and gets the storytelling side of it, which I'm assuming is what you appreciate about it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So when what happened when you were like, oh, there's a camera and there's a button and I can actually create content? Tell us about how you got started into that, and if that's something you've always wanted to do. Did you go to school for that?
So it's a little bit of a deep cut to like the internet, but back in 2013, 2012, around that time, Call of Duty was huge. And I played Call of Duty as much as my parents didn't want me to, but
Sure.
played Call of Duty. And eventually I found out that you can like do these like trick shots and stuff. And if you're really good at the game, you can post that and people like watching it because not everyone's really good at the game. I wasn't that good at the game. I was okay, but I wanted to make the videos. And so
You were great at the editing.
yeah, well at the time
He was great at the trick shots.
It was, yeah.
I knew a little bit about it, and I guess there's the original story is that my parents got me an iPod Touch when I was like 8.
Is that the ones that are colored? No, it's not the touch.
That was a Nano.
No, the Nano was colored, and I had one. My dad had one of those, and it held like it was a big deal. It was 1,000 songs.
Oh, it's the biggest deal ever.
Yeah.
A
And
jukebox in your pocket.
Yeah. Is that the little tiny one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they got me a Touch and it had a camera on it, and I was like, for some reason, I really wanted that camera, and I made some YouTube videos that don't exist anymore. I don't think, thankfully, but with some like Trey and
Oh god.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and so I had my dad's old iMac, had Final Cut Pro on it,
Yeah.
and I like without asking him edited together a video, and it was really bad, but it was a video, and so because of that, when I was playing Call of Duty, I was like, I like the whole editing side of things, and let me try to do that. So I got in some touch with some people who did really well with that. Sorry, and the crazy thing is that people that used to do Call of Duty videos like that are like the ones who did really well are now working for like VFX studios.
Right.
And it all started from a video game, or they've done what I've done and turned it into real life stuff. And then so once my brother asked for a camera, and I never wanted to ask for a camera. I just thought it was all, I'll just record Call of Duty stuff and do that.
Screen capture or whatever.
Yeah. He asked for a camera for Christmas, and he got like an old Nikon D3300, great for like starter pictures and stuff. But I like this, like, the girl who does the yearbook at high school. That's the type of camera that was.
Yeah, it's like a Rebel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it
Like
does.
an EOS Rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes pictures and sometimes video.
Kind of like what we're shooting with today.
No. I know what that camera.
Yeah, that's a little bit better than a Rebel.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
And so we took some pictures, and I remember the first time I zoomed the lens in, and there was background blur. And back then, that was a big deal to me because I was like, "Oh, that's a sign of a nice camera." And so Easton and I took some pictures, and that's kind of where it started, I guess. And then from there, how much further do you want me to go? I can talk about this for a while.
Yeah,
So-
this is good.
Yeah. So I guess you were attracted to the creative side of it,
Yeah,
right?
I really like the tech of it too.
I will tell
That's what
you,
made me curious.
it's funny because obviously my journey was probably 20 years before your journey, but back when I was young, I had some friends that had, back when I was a kid, you filmed on this VCR that was sat on your shoulder.
Oh,
You literally put a VCR
that's
tape
right.
in it,
That's right.
and you would film, and we would make these. We were kids. We'd make these slam dunk videos, and like for us to dub back then, dub music and stuff.
Yeah.
We had to have 2 VCRs. We had one recording, one playing, and then we had like the audio tied into it somehow, and then it had to be like synchronized. Be like, all right, ready?
So crazy.
You'd like press record and play at the same time, and the music and all that stuff had to go at the same, and it would like whatever you got was what you got.
I bet Instagram Reels, when it came out, you were like, geez, there's my video. Here's my music. Bam.
So anyway, we used to create these as kids. We thought these videos were amazing, especially back then because barrier to entry was super high. Nowadays anybody can make a video. I mean, you talked about Final Cut Pro. That came on every Apple device computer.
Yeah, even like iMovie.
Yeah,
that wasn't a thing
so,
before computers.
You know, it got to where anybody could make a video and anybody could edit something. But back then, we were like manually doing this, and our friends that didn't know we did it, they thought it was like voodoo.
Yeah.
Like, you're making these movies.
But the only way you could share your movie was with another VCR.
Yeah, but we'd take it to school back then.
Take it to the school TV cart.
We'd roll the card out.
Roll
We'd
the
play
card
it for all
in.
yeah.
So
That was before Trey's time, for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, that was kind of that when I was 4th grade.
Yeah.
That's what really got the juices flowing. Like, oh man, this is cool creating stuff, right? And it always stayed with me until I started YouTube years later.
Yeah. No, I get it. For me, and on the music side, I remember the first recording I ever did of myself. And you know how when you used to have a landline in your home and you had a place to leave voicemail?
Yeah.
And you had a tape in there and you'd have to hit record and record the voicemail?
Answer machine.
Yeah. It's been a long time, right? We were living in Mountain Rest on Village Creek, and I would hit record and play. And then I'd strum and it'd play, and then I'd sing harmony. It was the only tape recorder I could find in the house, and that was my first memory of editing a song.
The next person that called the house got Jared singing to him.
My mom was on the road. She was like, okay, whatever.
You're like, I forgot I left that on there. Oops. Singing some
whatever it was.
Candlebox or something.
Yeah, this would have been mid-90s. Yeah, 93, 94, something like that. But your dad's also a musician, right?
Yeah, you need to have him on here.
Yeah,
we're down.
Yeah, absolutely. So Trey is our youngest guest by a long shot, which is also excites me.
Nice.
This is a big deal, but I don't want to get into your parents. But today, now Ray's that'd be a great idea to have him on here for sure.
Yeah.
And just doing the music storytelling side of what he does today. But he's a creator. Any musician is a creator.
Yeah, for
just
sure.
like any videographer.
Yeah.
And so you kind of got that creation trait from your father and then took it. What about, you got a younger brother or Easton?
Yeah, Easton.
And is he creator? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He makes he's in a pause right now. I want to get him back into it, but he makes really good like new rap music.
Yeah. So I looked him up before the podcast, watched a couple of his videos, who I would assume
that was me.
Is 100% older brother, helping him out. So Easton, love your stuff.
Producer, writer, like what's his thing?
He is a writer and a voice.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
He has a laptop and a mic similar to this. Actually, I got him a mic for Christmas, so it's really, really nice.
Cool.
I think my dad used to use it way, way back at some clubs and stuff.
Sweet.
But he does a lot of the writing, and he's got some help with that with some friends that he met online or in person. And then he also, I think, has a really good voice. So he records stuff at home. And then there's a guy named Charlie in Memphis that he met through like Mississippi State. He did his first year of college there, and then sends that off to Charlie. So Charlie's the one who
produces it.
Yeah, like makes it sound like it should be out.
Yeah. There's an art to that for sure.
Yeah. Melatonin, man. Easton, Melatonin's a great song.
I think so.
I think
I might have to listen to it because I'm in the dark. Like you guys,
did they ever put it on Spotify or iTunes or anything like that?
It's on Spotify. He's got one song with 250,000 plays.
Easton Keys.
Yes.
Look him up.
Tell him to make more music.
Easton.
Yeah.
Make more music.
Hey, no shit. Like I need music for the YouTube channel that's copyright free.
Easton.
Let's do it.
Make more music.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I got the most respect for Alicia and Ray both. I think they're great guys. They did a great job raising you for sure. But I love the content creation that comes here. Next generation comes in, still content creation. So tell us how the door opened for you to be on the sidelines doing all the videoing and recording for Dabo.
Yeah, I would have never known that existed if it wasn't for my parents taking me to games. Because you watch the video board, it's way bigger now. But back then there was this dream video that played, and it was like the story of a Clemson recruit as he was growing up, like what he wanted to do. He wanted to play football. He wanted to get bigger. And as a kid, he saw people playing on TV, stuff like that. And so that's the first video I saw. And that was back when the whole college sports media was just happening.
Right.
Clemson was one of the first schools to do it. And so luckily it's, right down the road just by chance. And my dad worked at a company in Pendleton that was kind of related to Clemson, so he could help me, maybe meet some people. But there was a guy who put his email and his Twitter, which you don't do anymore. Back then it was, here's my email, reach out to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And his name is Jonathan Gant, and he was the solution for Clemson for building a in-house media department. And so I shot him an email. I read that email. I still have it. I misspelled a lot of things. I was 15.
Creator, not English teacher.
That's right.
I was 15. I think I misspelled the main software that they use.
Sure.
But besides the point.
In that email, did you include some of your work?
Every once in a while, I would send them something. I didn't exactly have much work because I was terrified to share the Call of Duty videos. I thought that no one would.
You're your own
get
worst
those.
critic.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But I also just I didn't know anyone around here who knew what those were. And I'm like, this isn't gonna mean anything to someone who shoots with a real camera. But I played football in high school. I broke my arm twice, and I decided, hey, I have this camera. Let me make some videos for the football team and do what they do at Clemson. That'll be fun because I can't play. And
Genius.
so I started doing that. I made some videos for the football team, and then eventually I put those on my Instagram and then connected with people who worked at Clemson. There's a guy named Andy Turner who's from Mount Pleasant.
So you're like your high school hype man.
Yeah,
Everybody loved you, I bet, because you made them all look good.
I ran the student section page, and
Yeah, but all the players had to
they
love
liked
you
it.
because you made them look, you know how it is. When
Professional.
You're just like, oh, that was such great footage. I haven't seen any of it, but I can just imagine.
That's right.
Yeah, it's become more of a thing now with certain schools, but
Yeah.
a lot of people who end up working in college sports did that, or they did something similar to it, and so we were really the only team that I knew of, especially in Anderson County, that were doing videos like that. And Daniel had a guy, but
Yeah.
we sort of started doing it first, and then with that, I was able to build more of a portfolio, and that led to me shooting a wedding for the first time, and that's when the whole freelance thing started.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had a group of folks hit me up. It's probably been 2 years now, but they had a son that was a pretty good basketball player in high school and really was wanting to try to promote him to colleges. And back in our day, you just, if you was in the newspaper,
That was your hype video.
yeah, that was your hype. There was no video. Nowadays, if you don't have
A hype video.
a hype video, good luck trying to get in front of colleges.
That's crazy.
And so they had all this content, and they're like, look, can you just go through and pick out the best stuff and make a video? It doesn't have to be fancy. We just want a highlight reel of all the stuff. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And so his dunks and blocks and shots and all the stuff, I just kind of compiled it all in one deal. And that's what they sent to colleges, which is crazy to think that that's what you got to do now. Used to, the coaches would go to the high school football games to watch the players or send somebody to film.
That's right.
Now it's you got to submit your content.
Your
They still got
resume.
it. It gives you a leg up, though.
It does. You're right.
Got to wait for them to sit in their office and watch it.
Yeah, 100%. It's yeah.
Is there a guy that just goes to schools and creates hype videos?
Goes to school. Barstool Sports has got into.
Okay.
They're in every high school now. Which is
Really?
yes, every high school has their own Barstool
What
Sports.
a great influence for our high schoolers.
Well, I think it's a little bit different than what you're thinking.
Okay.
But Seneca High School has a Barstool sports page.
Really?
Yes, it's called Seneca Barstool or something. I don't know. But
That's insane.
all you'll hear the kids, and it's brilliant on their part because they're getting these kids into the Barstool Sports ecosystem early. Because I hear a lot of them come by and,
Brilliant.
Trent was on the Barstool Sports page today. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm thinking Barstool.
Yeah.
No, it's
That's
the
what I was
Seneca. It's the Seneca Barstool.
But it's already embedded in their head.
They're already in
when
it.
they get to college, they're going to go to college, Clemson Barstool or Alabama Barstool, wherever they go.
Yes. Yeah. And then they're going to go to the sports bet.
Barstool is massive.
Yeah.
That company is
Anyway,
really smart.
we're hijacking your
No, it's okay.
Absolutely.
story. Yeah.
I knew the guy who ran the Clemson Barstool.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
You did.
Yeah, they're called Viceroys. I don't think they have. I think the high school ones are a product of kids seeing it.
And then they start their own.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's essentially what our page was.
That's still good though that you're creating creating this. It's so big that kids want to create their own pages around.
Yeah.
That's
Smart.
if every high school had a SouthCack. See, where you at?
We could afford
Son?
that camera. It does better video.
Yeah, we could hire somebody.
That's right. Support your local.
Man, we would
apparel
look
company.
good too, buddy.
No doubt. Okay, so keep going. So you emailed the guy in Pleasant Hill, right?
Jonathan. He worked at Clemson. The guy from Mount Pleasant was Andy, who was
Pleasant
a student.
Hill, Mount Pleasant. My bad.
It's okay. Oh, it's all right.
Okay.
I don't know. Also, do you cut this at all?
Not at all.
No. Okay. All right. I was about
Not
to say.
unless- not unless
I don't
we
know
have
if,
to.
like, if I say something and I'm like, wait a minute. Okay.
The pleasure of this podcast is you get us in a real feel. So.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
I mean,
I
if
like
we
that.
had to, like we had to cut out who,
Yeah. Yep.
what?
Keep going.
I want you to do as little work as
No,
possible.
I'm gonna say something different than what you're saying.
Okay.
From the paper.
How? Yeah.
No, we had to cut out who.
How?
No, not how, but
It was Willie.
who's Willie?
Yeah. Yeah. We couldn't reveal that under some kind of NDA we had to sign. I don't know. Anyway. So you emailed, you were afraid to send in your Call of Duty videos because you didn't know if he would understand that or get it or embarrassed or whatever the case may be. So how did he respond back to you?
Yeah. He actually, my initial email was, I want to do some sort of internship. And that was because my dad had told me what that word means. I was 15 at the time. I mean, I knew what it was, but like, I didn't know what to ask for. So my dad was a big help with helping me get my foot in the door. But he responded, and I sent him a couple of things, and he was like, "Oh, it looks good, whatever." At the time, you couldn't exactly just have a high schooler intern with you. I mean, you probably could, but it was something that didn't happen a lot. And so what happened was I would just email him over time, and then when I broke my arm the second time in the same spot, I was going to help them that summer, and then I wasn't able to go. So I thought that was it, and the more I sort of talked with them a little bit, I reached out like a year later because I didn't want to bother him. I didn't know how often an email should be sent. So I was trying to stay away, but I found out that I had to be a student of Clemson to like officially help. And so my high school grades weren't that great. So
Join the
I
club.
know, right? Fits right in with us.
yeah, so that kind of, I was like, well, I don't know if this will ever happen. So what ended up happening is I just kept in touch and then transferred to Tri-County, or went to Tri-County and then planned on transferring in. He told me that you have to be a student, and I thought, well, that's probably the easiest way. And it is, because I got bridged, but that's super expensive. And so I transferred in and did that. And then
Did you want to go to Clemson in high school? Did you like, I'm going to be a Tiger?
I didn't want to go to college.
I'm with that.
You just wanted to go to work.
Yeah, I knew I was supposed to, with quotes, but it didn't make sense to me. I mean, I was 19 years old and I made $40,000 during freelance work.
We
Tight.
talked about this a lot though. Like when
Way to
you're
go.
a true entrepreneur and you can go figure it out, like the whole pay to make money doesn't make sense. You're like, why would I do that? I can do this on my own.
Yeah, I didn't want my parents. I mean, my parents wanted to pay for it because they were Clemson alums. My whole mom's side of the family was Clemson. They went to Clemson. I just didn't want to. I was like, if you can save, you hear so many things in the news today about student debt and all that. And I'm like, if you could save the money, that'd be great. And so I went to Tri-County for free, but then I was like, I'm going to transfer in, mostly because I want to do what they want, but also if something does happen, it's a good fallback.
You're right.
If they're offering to pay for it, I might as well take advantage. So
You're right.
And I wasn't making $40,000 at 19.
No, and it dropped off after that too,
Good for
which is
you.
kind of a wake up call. But yeah.
Oh, you got that big money.
Yeah, COVID happened and the freelance went down like crazy. And so at that time though,
Nobody's having weddings anymore.
well, they were, but it was very small.
Yeah.
Some people in the wedding industry, and that's a whole other thing, did really, really well through COVID and did a good job. But because I was working at Clemson by that point when COVID happened, it was taking so much of my time. And I thought if I invested time into working for Clemson that it would pay off. And it ended up that it did. But I worked for 2 years as a student, and then kind of the like peak of working with an athletics department as like a video person is being able to help with football, even though that's not actually the peak. But when you're on the outside, you're like, I want to work with football.
Yeah.
It's a popular sport, 80,000 people plus. In the
I've
stadium.
made it. Everybody's gonna.
Yeah.
The thing is, too, the content you create is going to be more likely watched versus any other sport.
And it's cool. It's football. All the other sports are cool, but when you're out on the outside, that's what you see. That's Clemson's biggest team. And so I got to the point where I was working football, and there's an access related thing where we need Coach Sweeney to trust that we're not going to get in the way of a drill. We're not going to put out something that we shouldn't put out.
Right.
And stuff like that. And so that's why it's sort of coveted within like the sports like creative world, because the stakes are kind of high for a program that's always in the news versus like rowing that's not in the news. It's equally as important.
That's right.
But they're not always being criticized. I mean, Coach Sweeney gets his stuff twisted in a press conference every single year.
Yeah.
And imagine if we're the ones putting out stuff that gets twisted. That makes us look very bad.
Yeah. I'm sure there's checks and balances where they want to see the final cut or no.
Yeah, like anything that has Sweeney in it, he has to see, which I understand because I would be the same way.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And so there's a couple of different ways that we vet stuff. And the biggest one, if it includes him, if it includes something that, we might even think needs to be vetted, we'll give it to him.
Right. Shout out to Weston Co. Tap Room next door. Got a little
That's yours.
little delivery.
It's the first time I've been inside there, Jerry, by the way.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Oh, yeah. You like the build out?
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
You bet. Thank you, Jocelyn. Okay, so we talked about Sweeney a little bit. I think all our downloads, everybody would know who Dabo is.
Yeah. So
Except for maybe our Russia listener.
what's crazy? I was actually looked at analytics yesterday. I guess it was number 1 city. This is gonna be weird. New York City.
What?
Yeah. Number 2, Clemson.
Who do we have in New York?
I don't know.
I've only been to New York.
And I also wonder how that works too. Like if you have a phone and you're watching, I don't know how that works. I would assume it's.
If you're in New York,
Well, I guess it could be a VPN deal, but I would assume that if it was just based on IP, regardless of where the phone was from, it would still show they're watching locally.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, New York, number 1.
that's insane.
It
Thank
is.
you, New York, Big Apple. So most people would still know who Dabo is, whether you're in New York or Alaska. I mean, he's a well-known guy.
Yeah.
From all accounts that I've ever interacted, just a great guy. Is he the great guy that he portrays?
Yes.
Of course he is.
I also
Should have paused just a little bit longer.
I would I'm a Clemson employee, so like you would expect.
Of
me
course
to not
you
say
would.
anything but good. But he'd like from someone who I've interacted with him rarely, but the people that he hires are good people.
Yeah.
And the people that I get to work with at Clemson are good people.
Don't
and by proxy,
Don't you think that's why he's so successful though?
Yeah.
I personally do. I mean, I've met him at the airport at the Oconee County
yeah.
Airport. Ran into him up there. Listen, they got money, but they like his wife's like driving a minivan. Like they're just the most down to earth
Got
people.
a Toyota Tundra.
Yeah, he's not nothing super fancy. He's not like trying to.
Yeah.
Just a good dude. I've never talked to him, but I've talked to his kids a couple times. This is when they were a little bit younger. But
Yeah. I think Clemson's lucky to have him. I think anybody would see
100%.
that. He's a great guy. So, Dabo, if you're listening, man, we'd love to have you on the podcast.
that's right.
We'd love to hear your story about coming from a kid from Alabama. And I think he's from Alabama. Is that right?
Yeah.
That boy.
Yeah. So,
That's how he got his name.
So, Dabo, we appreciate you lending us Trey for a second to be on the podcast. We'd love to have you on the podcast as well.
That would be a cool show.
That would be.
Yeah.
Trey, can you make that happen?
I can't promise anything. He did go on Darian Rencher's podcast, which was a player.
Okay.
So I mean, he's not. I mean, there's a better chance than zero.
You're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance? I literally feel like Jim Carrey right now going, okay, no way. But that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. We appreciate what Dabo does just in the outside community of Oconee County.
Yeah.
Right. Because without Clemson University, I mean, just our tourism dollars coming into Oconee because of Coach Sweeney is a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. The economic impact that Dabo has to Oconee, a lot of people don't even realize.
Well, there's a part of Dabo too, to me personally, that because he's such a good dude, that it makes you like pull for him just a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You bet.
And it makes other people
We've had
dislike him.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We've had other coaches, right?
No, that's
that,
right.
That
That's
did,
right.
that did pretty well at Clemson.
But Ford was a great coach.
But like, when I don't remember Ford, I wasn't here. But I mean, we've had coaches, but Dabo, man, he's just like one of those you just want to pull for just because he's such a good dude. Win or lose, like
I was about to say you'll have other fan bases tell you that too, but they don't want people to know that.
yeah,
Of
I met
course.
a guy in an airport bar in Atlanta, and he saw I was wearing a Clemson sweatshirt because I'm like my dad. I travel with Clemson stuff on because he's always done that. And the guy sitting next to me, by the end of the conversation, had bought me a beer, but he was a neurosurgeon, and I didn't know that until the end. But he was a Georgia football fan, and if you know anything about Georgia.
Yeah.
And Clemson, not exactly the most friendly fan bases to each other. It's probably right underneath South Carolina and like NC State maybe.
And maybe Alabama.
Or Auburn or Alabama or any other team.
Auburn's just in your head, though.
True.
It's Clemson without a lake.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But we were talking about college football and just like coaches and stuff. And he said, I'm going on a podcast now saying it, but he was like, if you told anyone this, I would get in big trouble. But
just don't mention his name.
Yeah, I don't remember it, to be honest. He's a good guy. He said, don't tell anyone this, but I hate Clemson, but I love Dabo Swinney.
You can't not love Dabo.
Yeah.
Just salt of the earth, good dude.
And it's funny because I can look at him, and he didn't know I worked for them at that point. And I can say, like, believe it or not, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's exactly what you
would think.
What you see.
Yeah.
And that's cool, being able to meet someone who, they say something good about or bad about Clemson, and I can turn around and say, like, well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's talk about.
I got an autographed ball right there.
Yeah.
Dabo, I got one of your footballs in the podcast room. So
we need you to come sign the wall, though.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
So let's talk about the business of making content.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you want to talk about this. I would think personally that you and your team are solely responsible for recruiting in a form, because what happens is these young guys see the content you guys make, right? And the better you make it look, the more they want to come to Clemson.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like,
That's right.
In a weird way, like, you are as responsible for recruiting as, say, the Dabo team, which, I mean, I guess you are part of that, but you listen, recruiting goes back years. And the schools that realize that, like, you can't just go get the number one recruit the year that he's the number one recruit. Like, you have to build a foundation when that kid was 12.
Starts in middle school a lot.
Yes. Yeah. And then he sees these cool Clemson videos or these players that he admires, whatever. And then you start to foster that in their head. And then when they're in high school and then they're the number one recruit, then it's like, man, Clemson's always been on the radar because, I always love their content. You talked about that video. I mean, really, they recruited you through that video years before you ever made it to Clemson.
Yeah, no, that video just didn't impact fans and players. Like, that video did really well when it first came out, and it's it made other schools wake up too. Like, so we should be making this.
So, do you guys, like, actively, when you go into like a, an all hands meeting, are you talking about like this kind of stuff? Like, hey, we need to make content that's going to inspire the next Clemson recruits, or is it just about like,
your production was this. We need to work on the film up this side.
Yes, we're
so and so's not getting enough camera time. Is there politics also?
Oh, I'm sure there is.
I mean, there's always going to be politics and everything. It's not. I would definitely say it's like bottom of the list for us. And really, we're a small team, and so I don't work with football directly anymore. I did when I was a student. I worked with my boss who worked directly with football. I shoot home games for football, but so, like, for the recruiting side of things, we don't directly do any recruiting except for some photo shoots sometimes.
But I mean, when you make an Instagram post,
yes, we indirectly affect recruiting.
Then that's kind of what I was talking about. Like, when you're making these Instagram posts that look awesome and make Clemson look really good. There's 12, 13-year-olds that are watching that stuff that at some point will be at the school. They're never going to know that guy. They're never going to know that you were the guy that made that.
Probably not. No. I mean, they might meet me one day,
but they're still not going to know. They're not going to be like, "Hey, when I was 12, I watched this video." Unless you just
they did their research.
Unless you just make a banger, and it's one of those videos like you mentioned earlier where it's so memorable that they mentioned it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I know I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you are directly. Even the 30-second videos you make for Instagram or TikTok or whatever you guys make videos for, you are directly, I would almost say, more instrumental in future players than you realize, because you're going to make it easy for those coaches at one point to go recruit those kids.
Yeah, and that was a big thing during COVID too. Of like when that happened, I was just a student, so I wasn't really inside the walls as much as I am now. But the one thing, Jonathan doesn't work in Clemson anymore, Jonathan Gant, but he wanted to use that as an opportunity to like really show our value to all the coaches. And so we created a recruiting library of like Nike stuff and facilities, and Clemson football has the vlog, and that's like already we've had players commit because they say I watched the vlog. That's how I found out about Clemson.
And you guys were the first one to do the vlog, right? Where you guys hand the camera to the players and then you guys take the footage and go post.
Yeah, it was for anyone who watches YouTube, it was a ripoff of Casey Neistat.
Yeah, but I mean, it was the first college.
I believe so.
To do it.
Yeah, it should have been. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what, as far as I know, it was the only college.
So they would literally give the camera to players.
I have. I've never heard a guest talk about Casey Neistat.
Oh, yeah.
Like, way to go, Casey.
Yeah.
Like, huge in that community.
Yeah, yeah, and the style and everything, the intro, how it was done, and he's the one who sort of pioneered that side of creating content. But there's 3 things that we like really talk about when it comes to the things that we make, and it's like, what is it like to be a Clemson Tiger? What's it like to be a student athlete? And so, if we want to support our student athletes first, and then the brand, and then hopefully that trickles into the rest of coaches getting recruits and people liking us and growing our brand and everything. And so
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I would probably guess that you guys are probably even though they understand the value that you guys bring, they really don't 100% understand it.
It's hard to quantify too.
Yeah, it is hard to quantify because there's such a long tail to it, right? So back really quick, back to your Casey Neistat. So I was on a Casey Neistat episode one time.
You were?
Yeah,
were you in New York?
No, look it up. It's Death by Selfie.
Death by Selfie.
That was the name of his. That's the name of his video. Death by Selfie.
Okay.
I made a video of me making a beam. Remember Beam?
Yeah.
I made a Beam logo fabrication, but I made my own video.
That was you.
Posted it and I sent it to him. And so then obviously that piece was on his, and then he commented on the video I made too. Anyway, little Casey Neistat.
Way to go.
I've seen that.
Have you?
Yeah.
So Death by Selfie.
But you're YouTube famous too.
Not that.
You are.
Not like that.
I mean,
Not like that.
you are. You're humble about it, but you are.
The car world's a different market though. How many do you have? 400,000, 500,000?
300 and something. The thing is though, this is the struggle. Jared will say that I'm very humble about it. What I realized is that I'm not living up to the potential.
300 is not 3 million.
You got the Cletus McFarlands, you got the TJ Hunts, the Adam LZs, you got these guys, right? That are 2-3 million subscribers now. And they were ahead of me back then as well, but not, if I was 100, they were at 500. Yeah. Now I'm 300 and they're at 3 million. It's like, I
mean, I get it. I'm like at 12. Not 1,200, not 12 million.
Just 12.
12.
Yeah.
Jared Ketterman, YouTube. I'm at 12. Please subscribe. I hadn't posted anything in like
Jared Ketterman.
10 years.
That's part of the problem.
You have music on there?
Yeah. Well,
there's a song about Colorado.
Yeah, Breckenridge.
Yeah, Breckenridge.
Yeah. So what's funny is when we were on the tour bus, had I known, and Kyle kept telling me, this is the problem. Kyle's like, no, you just need to record everything.
Yeah.
And
just do the whole thing.
See, I wanted to vlog back when vlogging wasn't even really a word for it.
And I did one or two. I'd be standing in the windshield of the tour bus, filming Interstate, look back, the band's kind of drinking and playing in the lounge, and take over a music store, or we're on an airplane, and then you just post. And what iPhone came up with is like you could record and then you just send it to YouTube. There was no taking it back to the house. You guys put so much time in your video editing. I had no clue. And I look back and I was like, I didn't document anything.
Yeah.
And YouTube is such a powerful tool.
It's one of my most favorite parts of YouTube is not what you would think it would be. The best part about YouTube for me is that I have documented my life. I've got videos with me and my kids.
Scrapbook.
When they're lit, it's a scrapbook. Yeah. And occasionally I'll just go back and look at some old videos and go, man.
Well, I think that's social media in general, right? If my face, I can't. I'm not gonna say I can't stand Facebook. I rarely post on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
But every morning I go to my memories tab
and see what the memories
and
are.
It's like 2008,
the problem is
2010.
though, if you're not posting, those memories are gonna run out.
Well, I look at the same damn memories.
From way back.
Yeah,
They're just going to get older.
That's exactly
so
right.
This year is 10. Next year will be 11 years ago. The year after that'll be 12 years ago, but won't
right.
have anything recent.
We're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be right back with Trey Keys.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time consuming. When it comes to your auto and home insurance needs, make things simple and trust your Allstate experts. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your auto and home. Bundling saves money, sure, but it also saves you time. So you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact Clemson Allstate agent Shane Smith at 864-654-1047 today for a free personalized insurance proposal. Allstate, are you in good hands?
We're back with Trey Keys. Kyle, what do you think, man?
I love it. This is my jam. We were actually just talking off during the break, and I'm just like throwing questions at
It's the longest break we've ever taken and questioned a guest about his expertise of what he does is very valuable for where our vision of the podcast wants to go as well.
When I geek out in this stuff, even though I'm too lazy to actually do it on the YouTube channel,
that's right.
Like I geek out about this stuff, and it's just so interesting to me.
So one of the social media things that came up during the break was TikTok. I want to touch on that for a minute before we get into the other thing, but how important is TikTok, in your opinion, to social media? We hear it all the time. Gary's always saying, if you're not doing 4 organic TikToks a day, you're going to fail. Is TikTok obviously it's a major player, but does Clemson or does your department look at it the same way?
I was about to ask if you meant for a business or for Clemson, because it's a little bit different.
And why?
Yeah, TikTok is the Wild West of content.
Interesting.
You can do anything on TikTok as long as they don't take it down. Someone's going to find it interesting, and we have, as last time I checked, at least we have the highest followed athletic TikTok account. We were like that with Vine too, if you remember Vine.
I heard Vine.
It's coming back.
I loved Vine.
It's coming back.
Yep.
It's coming back. Elon says he might bring it back.
I loved Vine.
Anyway,
It's great. And what I liked about, this is a side note, but what I liked about Vine is that you were constrained.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
with TikTok, I can have 10-minute videos on TikTok, and I'm not watching a 10-minute TikTok. Someone will, but I think that if, let's say you're a business in Walhalla, South Carolina, we'll take Pretty Place for an example.
Sure.
They're not a business, but they're a location. They are slammed now because someone made a TikTok about Pretty Place, and it's kind of been ruined.
Airbnbs are huge for that.
Yeah.
I actually seen James's thing come up on TikTok, and it wasn't something he did. It was something that somebody else did.
I wish he was here because he told me it was a nightmare. He
said really?
Once an influencer did that reel or whatever you call it on TikTok, he's like, I had everybody booking, and they just like
it wouldn't stop.
It was great for bookings.
Yeah,
but it was not the clientele I wanted. It wasn't. The
hold on, let me quote James. What am I going to do with that? That's what he said.
We love James.
I mean, is there a clientele that, like, you say clientele you don't want? You have Airbnbs. I don't.
I have a lot of Airbnbs.
What does he mean by that?
So it means the influencer was a high end, respected the property kind of, making great content. They're building their clout, but what that did was gave somebody or multiple people that was just like, oh, well, that's so pretty. The influencer's doing it. I'm going to go. Yeah, just book the place and have a party. Yeah. Because the influencer went there. Yeah. So there is an upside to having influencers. We all know that. You're an influencer. Yeah. You're an influencer. I'm not. 12 on my YouTube channel, remember? 12. 12. But there is a downside of having, and we have hosted influencers in the lofts, and we've had issues beyond that, but I'm not anti-influencers. We had Hal on here the other day talking about print media. Influencers is also media. Like, it's advertisement.
You're right.
The difference is I don't pay the influencer. They stay for free. So I pay them in real estate, so to speak. Yeah. But it comes with a downside. The more popular you are, it is a catch-22.
And I guess it really depends on who the influencer is, right? True. If it's a travel blog and it's more high-end travel, you're probably going to get more high-end clients versus if it's
That's right.
It's some college influencer that's looking for a place to party on the mountain.
That's right.
That's
right. So TikTok is a thing for Clemson.
Yeah. Yeah, It's kind of funny. The Kyle, who I work with, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me mentioning him. He mostly does a lot of the football work as a full timer. Sometimes he spends a ton of time making something, and then it might be directly for TikTok, and it doesn't do well. Sometimes he puts zero effort into something on TikTok, and it explodes.
Are you putting?
Sometimes it's the opposite.
Are you putting any content on TikTok?
I am.
Okay.
I've got 10,000 followers on TikTok.
Of course
Do you do like the real pretty welding lines?
No.
I love those.
Oh, you talking like the
People who've got like
satisfaction.
I don't know what it's.
I call it Instagram welding.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Just make it look real nice.
So I probably should. Are you familiar with? Well, maybe not, because you're probably not that deep into the fabrication. But there's this guy on Instagram, TikTok. His name's Dabs. We call him Dabs.
I don't think so.
Sean. Anyway, Dabs Wellington, I think is his name. Anyway, he makes like art. Shout out to Dabs. I was just in Chicago with him. He takes mirror stainless and then like TIG welds art on it.
Love that.
And he makes these videos, and he's like really big on TikTok. Like that's his thing. Is TikTok and Instagram. He's not a YouTuber. He makes these quick videos. He's super good at it. Yeah.
There's a guy we looked at yesterday, because every once in a while we have these meetings where we just like throw stuff up on it's real artistic crap, but throw stuff up on a TV and be like, what do we like and don't like about this?
Yeah.
Or what
Do we want to mimic this or not mimic this? Yeah.
There's a guy on TikTok who takes Nike shoe boxes. If you've ever seen Nike shoe boxes, orange with a white check, and he takes I guess it's an X-Acto knife or something, and he took the swoosh and he made someone in like a golf backswing with the swoosh.
Oh, sweet.
And then cut up the box so it had like a little golf course on there, and he's got a ton of videos that are like that.
Where you just make stuff out of it.
Yeah, and it's
the craziest. It's the craziest waste of time. Like I get it as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I will waste.
Hey, listen,
my day
watching reels. Let's do an experiment.
Okay.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
This is gonna be fun. I'll write it down.
This is gonna be. Write this down.
I'll write it down. Let's go.
We need to come up with a screen name for you.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Listen, hear me out.
I can already see this going south.
It's around pyroism.
Oh, I love fire.
Yeah, see, this dude loves. You need to make it we need to make a test account where all it is you lighting big ass bonfires and burning shit all the time.
I love fire.
Listen, you take this microphone and hey, his name's Jared Ketterman or whatever so we're gonna burn some wood.
Yeah. And that's all we got to do.
Today we got
burn some wood.
We got 6 bottles of tiki torch fluid.
Yeah.
3 bricks and
a Nike Swift box.
We're gonna burn something.
There you go. Okay, so I'm writing pyro video.
Yeah.
We should make a whole account, TikTok, like a pyro.
Jared,
and all it is Jared burning stuff.
You guys were talking to the Kiwi Brewing company guy?
Alex.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, the pyro pirate.
Yeah.
I love pirate stuff too, man. Black powder. We used a lot of black powder.
These buildings here in Walhalla, you strip them back and they've got like a Texaco sign or something covering. People love that.
Yeah, so
if you're demoing a building or
it's another mistake that I should have listened to Kyle on. He's like, dude, you're doing enough demo of old buildings. Yeah. You should document this stuff and post it.
There's history there.
And I didn't. I
See,
can tell the story of our product.
It's also okay. Like if you don't want to do that, that's
no, it's not
you're
that
right.
I want to.
Yeah. You're right. I think I wanted him to document it more for his memories versus to actually post it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Like it's like you could. Like I think you would do really well doing that. But also like if like there's a girl in our office who works in social media and she hardly uses it.
Yeah.
And
what?
Yeah. She's like pure artist. Her name is Sam Frost.
Which, listen, I actually kind of agree with that because sometimes when you consume too much, it clouds your creativity.
Yeah. You got to think you have to do X.
Well, and subconsciously, it'll change you to be like everybody else versus if you're super clean of all social media, then what comes out is pure and
raw.
It's original. Mm-hmm. You're not like mimicking, like I don't care who you are as an artist, like if you consume enough of it, it's going to sway the way you make content.
Her work is uniquely hers.
And that's probably because she's not swayed by everybody else's work.
Good for you, Sam.
Yeah, she's great. She probably won't listen to this. I'm going to send it to her.
That's fine.
Send it to her. Sam, we'd love to have you on.
Yeah, sure.
She'd be great. She's an interesting perspective. She moved across country from California to work.
So did Kyle.
Yeah. Oh, really?
A California kid.
Born and raised in California.
Really? She moved across country from, oh my God,
Don't say,
San Diego.
oh, that's not where I came from.
Okay. She's from San Diego, and she worked for USD, and then did a lot of stuff with baseball, and then left that to do grad school at Clemson.
Okay.
Because of the social media stuff that we work on. And the way that she thinks is interesting about things.
Interesting.
Which is a true artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's also like loses her phone. And like, I'll find it.
Yeah, you're like, what?
Yeah, I lose my phone. And I'm like, that's
Freaking
$1,000
out.
right there.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about $1,000. I'm thinking about what's on my phone.
Who texts me?
That's bad. So let's get into the company that, can I call it, you guys started?
Sort of, yeah. They try to make sure that I take credit for it sometimes, but really it was, I joined in once it was already running. But
I had a meeting, so we'll rewind probably 4 years ago when we were at the Landis building at 224.
yeah,
And
Which is a great space. I still wish we had another space like that.
yeah.
I don't want to hijack this, but I was only there a couple times, and just the vibe.
Oh,
Like
Lana did a great job.
If I could have hung out there every day,
Yeah. The business model worked, and I still think there's a need in Walhalla. She bought the old Booker building, recreated kind of the same space, but not
I think
the
my
same
dad
vibe.
has a spot over there.
It's not the same vibe. You gotta understand. Like, this could be a whole episode, and I don't want to get into it, but when 224 came out, we were all hanging out there, and we were mapping out a plan.
yeah,
And then we were just buying real estate and creating businesses.
we need to have her on.
This should be a good one. Absolutely. But I have a meeting with Trey and Roy, and they were just talking about this company that they had a vision for. And I don't know if the meeting for me was an investment opportunity or just a meet and greet. I can't recall because it was so long ago. But today, there's a company that was established, and Trey was a significant part of that, called Take Part. And you can find Take Part at takepart.co, not .com, takepart.co.
Yeah,
I didn't tell you that. That's good.
.co.
That's right. You didn't tell me that. I do my research, right? So give our listeners an idea how Take Part came about, what the mission was, and what you're doing now.
Yeah, I still think you need to have someone. I think if someone from Take Part one of the people
You
who
are
helped
from
start
Take Part.
Yes, one of the people who helped start it came on. That'd be great. But I can do a good job.
Sure.
To sum it up. So the idea started from friends. Mm-hmm. We were doing a bunch of freelance work. So it was stuff like the mountain bike trail. And,
Yep. You're welcome.
yeah, thank you for that. By the way, that was a great opportunity.
Yeah. Thanks, Ken Sloan.
Yeah, and doing weddings or working a drone business, and stuff like that. And the conversation is like, we're already hiring each other to help out with jobs that we're doing. Why don't we just combine and make it our own thing? And Roy and I had been talking about that for a while, and I was still like 18, so I didn't really know. We were talking about it, but I never took it seriously because I was 18. Like I just did videos.
That's right.
And then a couple years after that, Roy called me and said, "Hey, Drew and Austin, which are friends that I've done work with, we're starting Take Part." And I was kind of hesitant about it, but then he convinced me to do it. And what it's become now is a company it's a digital media marketing company. A lot of it is video based, and some of it is web design based. But we try to serve clients in the upstate area and provide them with what they need. So we have one company on retainer out of Spartanburg. Oh, it's been a minute since I've worked with them. I can't remember. Or Buckley Brothers. Buckley Brothers Pressure Washing.
Okay.
So they were talking through us. They know us through Palmetto Boy State, which is a whole other thing. But
Sure.
they were talking with us about, hey, we want to get more business. That's typically how the conversation starts. It's like we have.
That's how most conversations start.
Yeah.
We want more business. We want to do X, Y, and Z. And so we said, hey, we think we have a solution for you, or a product really at the time. And so we modeled something for them based off of the Clemson football vlog. We're like, what's stopping Buckley Brothers from having a vlog? And so and it was kind of, in hindsight, it was a little bit crazy. Every week they had a vlog that would go out on, I think it was Fridays or Thursdays. And work like that is what eventually came to take part after doing, odd jobs and whatever.
Right.
And we've done a small part of a documentary that'll come out at some point. And
So is it like turnkey stuff, or is it?
It's a one. So
So do you hold on. Do you guys go to Buckley Brothers and say, hey, we want to manage your social media, or we want to help you create the content, and then you guys kind of post it?
yeah, it sort of depends on which client comes to us. And so for the most part, they come to us, but you would never get business if you just did that. A lot of our growth has been organic, but or person to person, like, you and Jared talking about it.
Yeah.
But when they come to us, they usually have a problem. And like a business 101 textbook, like, we have a solution. Here's what we think we can do. And then they either agree with it or they disagree with it. It just kind of depends on.
And you can sell it to them however, whether it's turnkey or just let us lay it out for you on how to do it. Either way.
Yeah. We've done some things where, like, we give, like, one of the parts that take part that's unique is that sometimes we've given businesses an exit plan for us, where they are paying us to eventually get rid of us.
Gotcha. Of course.
And so we want to.
It's an a la carte thing.
Yeah, we want to help them. Like, we want to do the stuff for you, but we also want to help
Show you how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just reminded me, because we had talked about before we started this podcast that me and you had kind of messaged a little bit.
Yeah.
I was wanting to do a documentary. That's what it was. That's what I hit him up about. Anyway, it just kind of hit me because you started.
take part.
Oh, I thought we had talked about that.
We did, but I had forgot what it was we
You never
talked
pulled
about.
the trigger.
Well, we never pulled the trigger. It was going to be an Amazon documentary. Because I've got an in with Amazon Prime Video, but I wanted to make something more than just me. And I was like, man, I need some talented folks to help me do that, right? Anyway, but when you come in, you had said
Still in the cards, by the way.
hey, we can still make it happen. But we had talked about that, me and you talked, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was, what the content was that we were going to do together. And I can't, but it just hit me. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was about
Why are,
the Fox. I don't want to make anyone angry. Chuck,
Chuck, yeah.
That's right.
the brother,
Yeah.
and a Fox body Mustang,
Yeah.
or a Mustang.
Yeah. Well, so the Bibster,
Yes, yeah,
the Bibster was
Chad.
kind of built in the name of a friend of ours that had passed away.
yeah.
Me and Chuck and Chad were all good buddies, and Chad passed away. I built that. Chuck still has Chad's car. But yeah, I my idea was more around the like car culture.
Yeah.
Like why is there a car culture? What
Yes,
is it about
sure.
car culture? Like I want to make this documentary that's like
And you reached out to our guest today
exactly
because you found value in
He
what
had
he
the
was
skills.
doing.
He had
And
the
that
skills.
was years ago.
probably a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like three probably.
Yeah, he had the skills to do what I felt like needed to be done to
I
make.
can tell you the price point has changed.
Nah, I had to give him equity in the Amazon.
Depends on how
I
much we
gotcha,
sell
I
it for.
gotcha. Yeah, there you go. So where is Take Part going in the next 3 to 5? What do you see the vision as for the company?
So I don't know exactly how much I can talk about. There's some stuff happening with I want to mention like pageants.
You don't have to go there.
You don't. We talked about it.
But
Yep.
yeah, the
We'll need to consult with legal at Take Part before we can talk about that.
We're just going to have them on.
Yeah.
yeah, you could have Roy or Austin or
Yeah.
both of them maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
But the end goal is that we want to remain in this area and do stuff for businesses in this area. And then like Greenville almost is like a whole nother market, but that's where like the Ring of Fire and one other agency that I can't remember, like they work out of Greenville, and we saw a need of like
Sure.
Pickens, Oconee County, Anderson needs someone that's not in Greenville.
So you are a content creation company.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And it could
Brass
be like
tacks,
it could be like a one-time deal,
You
or
do
it could be like
shorts, you do commercials, you do documentaries, you do.
Yeah, they've actually done some stuff with Clemson as well.
Oh,
so,
cool.
So it's a little complicated now that I'm working with Clemson because I don't have enough time to
Sure.
freelance. But there's a sector of Clemson football, and this is back to the whole Dabo Sweeney thing. It's called Paul Journey, and I don't know if either of y'all have heard of it.
I haven't heard it.
Yeah, Jeff Davis used to play linebacker in the NFL. I thought it was running back, and apparently it's linebacker.
Okay.
One of the first things that Coach Sweeney did was hire Jeff Davis because he said, we have a bunch of college kids. They're athletes. He was an athlete. We need direction. And resources for these athletes to do well because 1% of them are going to the league. And how can we provide them with options?
Something else.
Yeah, how can we get them jobs? Make sure they're prepared.
Props to him for that.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible program, and Take Part has done some work with that as well. And I think they want to continue, and so they made a commercial for them. And so they really do. They do a lot of stuff, and I think the future of it is advertising. That's my personal take.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, content creation is advertising.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. What I think is the main future of it is paid advertisement, and so we make the media. They are the businesses that hire us are the ones that are the talent essentially, but stuff like that. I think that's
you know what Take Part needs.
What?
They're an influencer wing.
Influencer wing.
Yeah,
Sweet.
like you need to tie those people that are making the content to the people who can distribute the content.
Sweet.
So one of the things
There's some stuff happening there.
is there. Yeah. See, I always wanted. Now I would necessarily wouldn't. I never looked at maybe doing what you guys are doing and Take Part. Mainly because I never felt like I was that great at the content creation side of it.
I feel like we all feel like that.
And maybe that's maybe
we are all our own worst critic.
And maybe that's the case. But I always wanted to start like an influencer agency where you have a bunch of people on staff I don't know if staff's the right word, but you have a bunch of influencers, and then like when the Froniuses or the whoever comes, then you're like, oh, I have a guy.
You want to be like an agent.
I guess that probably explains it much more.
Yeah,
interesting.
You want to have a network of people that you can help get deals while also helping businesses advertise.
Yeah, like a business go to one place. They don't have to go find the influencer themselves.
Yeah.
If SouthCack Apparel could go to a Take Part company and say, here's my issue.
Make this.
I don't have time to do this. You guys are the experts in the room.
Yeah.
Here's the products.
Do it.
Do it.
You've done half of that.
I have.
Because you went to him.
100%.
He's created content for you.
Trey has created most of my content.
I think the part that was missed was then Take Part or Trey or whoever, like you name the company, should then
That
lined
go
you.
out
They
to-
should have lined
to
you
the
up
influencers.
with and said, "Hey,
And
post
then
this
said,
content.
do this.
Yeah.
And it's an a la carte add-on to the client.
Or they basically
love that idea.
Or they work with those folks up front.
I love that
So
idea.
you get the influencer and Trey get together and they're like, hey, together we want to make some content for SouthCack for you to post on your.
That's right.
That would work really well for like product based.
Yeah,
like
or
SouthCack
cut them in on the deal. Cut them in on the percentage of sales.
Oh, here we go.
Anyway, that's a different conversation. This has been great.
It's been awesome.
Like we could.
This is my gig right
The
here.
problem I have with this podcast, and several people have said this, like our attention span is about an hour. Like, but this conversation go on for another 3
Yep.
because Trey provides such value.
We're going to do this again because I feel like me and Jared have run over you a lot.
That was okay.
Yeah,
You know, we've really.
we get excited
We
about
do.
what we talk about.
do.
So it's like,
I want to hear more about a lot of stuff. We'll have to have you back on. When you do Take Part, have them back on.
takepart.co.
Dabo's been guaranteed by Trey. So that's going to happen. Y'all stay tuned for that.
You can't put that on Trey, but Dabo, we would love to have you on.
Listen, I'll do my best.
That'd be great. But check out the company, takepart.co. If you need any content creation, video work, there's nothing that they would not take a look at.
Yeah.
For sure.
Where can they find you at?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta look.
Trey.keys.
My Twitter is Trey_keys, and then my Instagram is Trey_keys3 because Trey_keys was taken. Then also
Instagram is
Y'all go look at his work.
Trey_keys3.
for Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Twitter is.
Trey_keys.
How important is Twitter to your age demographic?
I thought we were wrapping up. We could talk about this for
Real quick.
Yeah. For my job, it wouldn't have happened. Like a lot of people don't get jobs without Twitter. People talk about LinkedIn. Twitter for the sports
Even
world.
for the younger demographic.
Interesting.
Because we saw a Twitter that was doing this, and it was our social media.
Yeah.
And then most of my Twitter followers hadn't posted in literally 8-9 years.
Yeah.
A lot of people watch on Twitter. They don't. I used to think that Twitter, like when I was in middle school, that I wanted a Twitter because of the Call of Duty stuff. Like some people had Twitters. And I thought to myself, well, like, I'm not
Yeah.
announcing a concert. Like, I don't need people to know about it.
That was Jared.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Jared_Ketterman,
At the Fat Forums.
Nice.
which I actually post on.
I think it's important, though.
Okay.
I think it's going to make a resurgence.
Yeah, it's
Elon's coming
Elon's
in,
got it.
and it's changing the game.
Yeah, hopefully.
I think so. He's making people pay for verification, though, which I don't.
So
That one confuses me.
But you get a refund.
Well, and this is what I will say. Whatever you hear now, don't necessarily take it for what it is, because I'm sure things will change. But I heard initially what was going to happen is he was going to make you basically post almost like a bond. So in order for you to be on Twitter, you're going to have to put up $20.
Like a deposit.
Like a deposit.
Interesting.
And it was always yours. The second you quit the platform, you could get it back.
He wanted it in the bots.
Yeah. Because the thing is, if you got 500,000 bots,
Yeah.
you're not going to put up $20 for each one because you're like, that's too much
You're not
money.
relevant.
That's a good way to. I don't think that would work if Twitter was just starting, but now that Twitter is a thing,
Established, yeah.
I think that would 100%
Listen,
work.
even if it was a monthly thing, if I felt like I could get regular organic growth, not competing with bots and all this other stuff, I'd pay. If I felt like it would,
Sure. Last question. I want to wrap this up. Trey.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to get into your industry, what's the best advice you could give them?
This was the one question I thought was coming.
Good. Then I expect a
Yeah.
exuberantly great answer.
no pressure.
No
pressure.
pressure. Promise that. I can tell you what was the biggest thing for me, and it's a little different with sports, but just for in general, you're never going to get better unless you just keep making stuff, and that was the biggest thing for me. Is that like when everyone was partying or whatever, like I was watching YouTube videos about how to make videos, and.
Or trying to watch somebody who made content like you wanted to make.
Or I was trying to work.
Yeah.
And I've kind of fallen away from that a little bit since I've gotten the Clemson job. That it's nice and I have to work every day, but there's this I can't remember what it's called. There's a chart talking about like your confidence versus your ability.
Yeah.
And when you first start out, your confidence and your ability is really low, and then it shoots up like crazy because you learn some things.
It's a bell curve.
Yes, and then it goes down. And it's called like the pit of despair. And I was telling someone about this at Clemson the other day. But when you're most vulnerable is when you're on your way down and you think you know what you're doing and you really don't. And like the same phrase of like the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
That's where I'm at.
That applies. And
That's
like
exactly where I'm at.
And that applies to everything. But with videos in general, like you always can do better because you're not the best.
Yeah.
And
When it changes.
yeah, and that's the whole thing with social media too. Is that like with TikTok, you're never going to find something that always gets views.
Well, so back to, and I don't listen, we're going to end this podcast, but
we are.
but back to what we were talking about with the Casey Neistat thing. Like back in that day, like if you were making great long form content, you were there. You were the guy. And then all of a sudden, now everything changed to vertical, and it's only 30 seconds. Well, now you're not the guy anymore.
Sure. So let me ask this. What's the next step for social media platforms?
Oh, he don't. I mean,
this is a different demographic than you and I,
right.
Kyle. Think about
You're
this. Well,
I try to keep my
there's
ear.
a 20-year age
I try to
difference
keep
here.
my ear to the road, though.
Yeah, but he's in the road that we're trying to keep our ear on.
I agree.
So what is your personal opinion on where social media goes from now?
Have either of y'all heard of Be Real?
Be Real? Yeah, I have.
Okay.
So Be Real is an app that
It's like a countercultural app.
So it's a social media app. And the only reason I'm gonna tell him what this is because he thinks I'm not in the road, but I'm in the road.
Yeah.
So Be Real.
I think you're in the road.
Listen, Be Real is an app that you post on social media, but they tell you when to post.
Yeah.
And so you just all of a sudden get a
Are
notification.
you on it?
And you get 15 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. You get
Are
2
you on
minutes to
it?
post. No. And listen.
In the
It's
road.
on the road.
Listen. No, but I know about it.
Yeah.
I don't have to be doing it. Right?
I'm sorry, I heard people on the other shows
dig it.
laughing a lot, so I figured
I dig it. I dig
So
it.
no, hold on. I'm not finished. It takes a picture on both sides of the camera.
Oh.
Very similar to
so
Beam.
first of all, you don't have time to prepare. That's the Be Real part.
Oh,
It's
I
like
dig it.
it's 2 minutes and you got to take a picture or you lost it.
I dig
So
it.
there's no like getting ready and posing. And when it takes a picture that way and it takes a picture this way.
Scroll down. You'll see. There's a whole bunch of people.
And so,
Be real. Oh, this scares the shit out of me. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. This is
so
crazy.
back to the Casey Neistat thing. He had an app called Beam, and it was Me, Be Me. And the difference was that his, instead of it being real where it was both sides, his was, it had a sensor and you'd put it on your chest and it would take a picture of you right now. And I never got to see what the picture was. It just posted it.
Yeah.
I never got to review it. Or you could put it on the wall
Did it go anywhere?
and take, CNN bought it.
CNN bought it, and then like Google and CNN and all those companies do. They eventually just
Yeah. But it was kind of the same concept though.
I think that the next phase of social is
Realism.
yeah.
I think it'll go for a full circle.
Yeah, I think it'll go back to like now people are like, I don't know. Do you have kids?
I do.
Do they have social media?
My oldest one kind of does.
Probably posted a photo dump, which used to be a thing like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's a thing again now. And we used to make small things for social media with Clemson. And by me, I mean the creative solutions staff. And then it got long form, and now it's back to small again.
Yeah. And I think it'll go back to long form.
Yeah, I think the things will repeat itself, but the biggest thing I see now is that everyone's a little sick of the influencer ads, whatever, with
Yeah.
perfect makeup and all that. I think that'll change.
I won't
Yeah.
disagree with that.
I think it goes full circle. Anyway,
Just like fashion.
good one. Appreciate
Trey,
it.
Good job.
Thank you for having me.
Trey Keys. Tell everybody again where they can find you.
Trey_Keys3 on Instagram and Trey_Keys on Twitter.
Y'all go look at his work.
And don't forget to look at takepart.co, a company that Trey has been a part of for a long time. And we'll have Roy on here or Austin or somebody.
Also follow Clemson football.
Awesome.
Clemson
There you go.
basketball.
So what? Okay.
bet.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't want to get into this, but like where?
Where we going?
Go ahead.
3-hour podcast.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead and finish it up.
Guys, great podcast. There's more to come with the
come back.
Keys family. We'll have Ray on. We'll have Easton. Oh, Easton make more music.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being a part of this. And Dabo, look forward to seeing you soon. Guys, y'all have a great weekend.
See you.